Look, the Chicago Bears have a couple potential trade chips, and these were players that I wasn't even thinking about when talking about potential trades in the future. Let's get into this. I think the main word for this video is length. That comes up a lot when talking about offensive and defensive linemen, right? NFL teams, they want tackles with long arms. Same is true for edge rushers. You've got these battles that need to be won with long-armed offensive tackles as well. But let's apply this to the secondary. And the player in particular I want to talk about is Zay Frasier. Just a really interesting draft pick for the Chicago Bears. And with him, the Bears seem to not only be drafting players for an immediate impact right now, but now also having the luxury of stockpiling for the future. And I think this rookie is a perfect example of that. And it's not just about Zay Frasier. Adding a player like this, it really opens up the roster. It might turn into a couple current players being trade chips as GM Ryan Poles can further strengthen this roster through the surplus of secondary talent that we now have as Chicago Bears fans. More on that. I'm going to get to that. But first, let's look at Zay Frasier in particular. You're looking at a guy that you don't see many corners come into the league with the following things. A 6'8" wingspan, a 4.36 40. That's the fastest corner that the Bears have ever had on this team. 6 interceptions last year, and also a really pedestrian 35.8 passer rating when targeted. Like, it's really exciting to see this player unfold. And then also looking at his relative athletic score profile. I mean, granted, this isn't everything. It's not always perfect, but it is something that teams use a ton when evaluating talent, especially when you have a player like Zay Frasier coming from a small school. And there's another player I can think of that the RAS score really illustrated the type of player that he was going to be, and that's Braxton Jones, being drafted in the 5th round as well. He had a very favorable relative athletic score, and it turned into us really having a quality player for virtually nothing. When you get a player in the 5th round that really balls out, it's like getting a freebie. So let's kind of look at this. He was drafted in round 5. He was picked 169, and he scored a 9.36 out of a possible 10. Just an absolutely fantastic score. And this ranks 179th out of 2,761 cornerbacks from 1987 to 2025. Once again, this isn't everything, but it certainly is encouraging. Absolutely love seeing this score. And then you're looking at, he came out of UTSA. His length, he's 6'2", 4.36 40 speed. That's absolutely ridiculous. 6 interceptions last season, and it's really easy to see how he fits in with Dennis Allen's scheme. So the Bears continue to do something here. They continue to stack physically imposing players on defense for new defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, and that's after a focus in the first 2 days of the draft. You also have a player like Ruben Hippolyte, absolutely balls out as far as RAS score as well. These are 2 really physical specimens that I think Dennis Allen is really going to be able to work with. So you're looking at our new GM, newly extended GM Ryan Poles. He's really shown a preference for really long arm players at almost every position group, but now it's at defensive back. And he found another one. He is out of Texas, San Antonio, and Frasier's 32 1/8 inch arms, second longest of any cornerback measured at the NFL Scouting Combine back in February, and also the fastest corner ever to be on a Bears roster. Length and speed won't be enough, but he has the physical tools to develop into a quality NFL cornerback, and I cannot wait to get him in the hands of our defensive backs coach, Al Harris. Now, it's kind of like this is a long-sighted pick, right? And the nice thing is that his length and his skill set, it can translate into playing safety on the back end as well. And this kind of protects the team as well should concussions continue to derail Jaquan Brisker's career. Absolutely love him as a man, as a player. Kind of is a little scary that he's continuing to play after all of these concussions. And kind of looking at the offseason, he was talking that he had to essentially rewire his nervous system to get himself ready to play in the NFL once again. Like, God bless him. I hope he continues to recover and that he's going to be a stalwart for this secondary for years to come. But getting a guy like Zay Frasier, who has the ability and the size and the length and the speed to be a versatile safety as well, huge win. 186 pounds. He's actually 6'3", 40-yard dash and 4.36. I mean, he's going to be a problem for NFL receivers if he's developed properly. And he has the support and backing of Bears first-year defensive backs coach Al Harris. And he was talking on a recent episode of Hodge and John's, Hogue, and Kevin Fishbain of The Athletic. He also named 2 players who could be potential trade chips for Chicago if Frasier performs well in training camp. And so far, he's looked really good. So he looked really hard at the team's rookie minicamp, which I did as well. It was just held back in May. And he really started to hold his own against the likes of DJ Moore and Romo Dunze. This is really interesting, you guys. This is straight from him, from Fishbain. Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith. Is one of those guys a potential trade chip if Zay Frasier looks good and you feel okay about him being the backup? Do you move Zay up the depth chart and find a day 3 draft pick or better for one of these guys because you've got a lot of corners right now? Like a blessing with corners right now. So if the Bears are looking to further bolster this roster and they have to add a player in a trade or actually get a draft pick that's much needed in the future, this could very well be a really long-sighted move, especially when we have Tyreek Stevenson kind of wilding out this last season. I think he's going to end up panning out, and Terrell Smith has been an absolute revelation in this secondary. Really valuable player. So Stevenson, for one, he's the most fascinating player in this camp, probably. You're looking at over 2 seasons in the league. He's flashed a ton. He has so much potential. But then you have behavior and mental lapses that really scratches your head. Started year 2, snagged a game-winning interception return week 1 that earned him NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors. And then he continued to have a series of lapses. I think a lot of it can be chalked up to immaturity. A lot of it can be chalked up to experience. But you have the Hail Mary against the Washington Commanders. I mean, taunting the crowd, allowed a 52-yard game-winning touchdown. It's just everywhere. And I don't want to continue to beat him up about it, but it definitely is something you consider when you're adding another player in the secondary with athleticism and length and reach. The writing might be on the wall for him. He's going to have to ball out here. He was fined nearly $20,000 as well in week 13 for unsportsmanlike conduct. That was after it actually was filmed later. Jameson Williams actually got the bad press during the game, but he tripped him on the sidelines. New defensive coordinator Dennis Allen also, he may just bring the best out of Stevenson. We have new defensive backs coach Al Harris. One of his first orders of business when he took the job was to essentially send Stevenson to camp to develop his skills and to further chisel him into a complete NFL corner. I hope that was really beneficial. And then you're looking at the 2023 fifth rounder. He's played well in limited opportunities. He netted a collective passer rating of 76.9. The player I'm talking about is Terrell Smith when throwing his way over the last 2 seasons. Man, that's pretty good for a fifth rounder. A 76.9 passing rating when thrown to him. And if he earns a more robust role on the defense, Smith can make Stevenson a totally more expendable piece as well. Now you're looking at Harris. What he has to say about Zay Frasier. He spent 14 years playing corner in the NFL, 2-time Pro Bowler for the Green Bay Packers. He was an absolute menace playing against him. But his experience is something that his players value a lot. And this is actually to hear from Frasier. This was on May 12th, so a while back. Coach has already been helping me for sure. Getting my stance higher, not being too low when I'm in press man, stuff like that. Being coached by him is really a blessing for real. It definitely boosts my confidence because I got a coach that done did it too. So ever since I took my top 30 visit here, it's been great. I told them when I was here for the visit, I feel like home here. So it's great to be drafted by the team I wanted to be drafted by. And I think he has a real shot to at least push Smith in particular. Stevenson, he's a second rounder, so there's a lot of draft capital invested in him. And I think he can still turn it around, but he's likely to end up a trade chip regarding how these players develop. It's just really nice to finally have this luxury, have a surplus of players, and for that surplus to possibly be able to use in future acquisitions without drying the well. I think that's just a really good situation. So we're looking at, how did Zay Frasier get here? Al Harris. Al Harris has had an eye on Frasier all the way back to when he was on the Dallas Cowboys staff. And while Harris was in Dallas, a corner from UTSA caught his eye, and that was Zay Frasier. I actually got a text from Al Harris saying, and this is Ryan Poles talking. I actually got a text in February from Al Harris saying, hey, there's this guy Zay Frasier. He's long. I think we can develop him as a press corner. I think we can get him in the 4th or 5th round. Let's go get him. And I absolutely love this collaboration with the coaching staff. The same thing with Dennis Allen, with Ruben Hippolyte. Poles is listening to his coaches. So is Ben Johnson. And he's into giving coaches what they want, because these are just really experienced, really good and proven coaches. Why not listen to them? So you're looking at Frasier bringing his 6'3" frame to a crowded corner room. You've got Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Terrell Smith, even Josh Blackwell has balled out for us. Already pretty well established on the roster. Then you're looking at Jonathan Owens as well. And, and also length is not new to this secondary. Like Frasier, Smith and Stevenson both have arms longer than 32 inches. He's from Georgia, near the Alabama border. He played in 4 games for the Salukis at Southern Illinois in 2019. I love this. Just a small school player. He's really paid his dues. Then he transferred to Coffeyville Community College in Kansas and ended up, I would hope, one of the top JUCO recruits in 2022. He initially committed to Kentucky, and then he flipped to UTSA. So long path to significant playing time even there. Played in 12 games in 22, but wasn't a starter. UTSA cornerbacks coach Nick Graham, he had high expectations for Frasier, but he still had to prove himself. And this is just kind of a cool story. He just plain wasn't ready, Graham said. And I don't like to put kids out there before they're ready, especially a kid who's out of JUCO. Then you're looking at the next season. Man, there's more. An academic eligibility issue kept Frasier out until November. So when he finally cracked the starting lineup in 2024, guy had a total breakout season, 6 interceptions, defended 15 passes in 12 games, NFL-sized frame, adding ball production that probably cemented him as a potential draft pick. And the Bears, they just snatched him up. He matches exactly what Dennis Allen likes to do. An 80-inch wingspan, huge plus. And Harris, he actually identifies with him a lot because Harris, he was a similar player to Frasier coming out of Texas A&M Kingsville way back in 97. And Harris was a 6th-round draft pick. Harris eventually developed into a 2-time Pro Bowl cornerback and 2nd-team All-Pro with the Packers. And this is once again from Frasier. It definitely boosts my confidence because I have a coach that has done it. He's going to give me the game. I've just got to add it to my toolbox and just be ready to work every single day. And Graham, a little more from his college coach. So I had a conversation with him about it, about his ability to create turnovers. We talked about it. You got to start attacking the ball. That's the only way you're going to get drafted. Otherwise, you're going to have to fight it the hard way. He took that to heart, and he responded with 6 interceptions. This kid is so coachable. He's done it the hard way, and Graham believes Harris might be the perfect position coach for Frasier as well. They're kind of similar, big, strong guys that can run, don't mind getting physical. There's nobody better that he can learn from. And I really love this player on this team coming in the 5th round. Definitely a player that can push the talent that we already have on this roster. But if he develops, The coach to develop him is Al Harris. If Al Harris is able to develop him, he's a perfect player for defensive coordinator Dennis Allen's scheme. If this player can develop in the way that I think he will, we're going to have such a blessing, such an embarrassment of riches in the Bears secondary that we're going to be able to pluck a couple trade chips and actually make some noise and bolster other parts of this roster through a position of overwhelming strength. You guys let me know what you think in the message board. You always do. Bear down, and I'll continue to be here on day-to-day basis, every single day giving you Chicago Bears news. Talk to you guys soon.